Welcome back, Internet, to another Reddit story. We're back to anti-MLM. So, my sister-in-law started sharing some Luluro videos on Facebook. Yeah, getting strong MLM vibes from this one. So, when are you free over the next couple of days? I've been talking with one of my mentors, and he might be able to sit down and chat. Once I know your schedule, I can check with him to see what his availability is. Well, I'm leaving today to go out of town for Labor Day weekend, but next week my schedule is really flexible. I can make just about anything work. And, if I may ask, what exactly would we be chatting about? Of course! I'm working with some very influential leaders that are working on a business project that are looking for sharp, business-minded individuals like yourself. I can't promise you anything, but if you're open-minded, we might be able to open some doors for you. Yeah, if you're open-minded, we might be able to open up some doors for you, sure. No one wants to be known as closed-minded, so when someone says something like a statement like that, they're going to be like, well, of course not me. I'm not a closed-minded individual. I am so totally open-minded and into this. What are you trying to sell me? But when it mentioned mentors, I don't know if I told this story on this channel. I don't think I have, but I'm wondering why it took me so long to tell you this story. But I dated a girl for 4 or 5 months, and she was nice and everything, but she said that she was into a mentorship program, and I'm like, what does that mean, a mentorship program? She was about my age, about mid-30s, and she said that she needed to help get her life on track. So I'm like, okay, yeah, self-help is always a good thing, you know? She's like, well, maybe you might be able to come to this meeting. I'm like, meeting? Wait, you said you have a mentor, but it's with multiple people? And she couldn't tell me exactly what it was about. And I'm like, what? She said that she has some books that she's been reading and studying, and about how she can help some other people too. She wants to be a mentor too. And I'm like, uh-oh, this doesn't sound good. But she really wanted me to go. But ultimately I said I would go because she has really great, big, huge personality. And I thought, why not? You know, she's really nice. Might as well go up and see what they're all about. So we get up to this convention center. It was just in a room in a convention center, so it could seat maybe 500 people. And they had about 300 people in there, and they were talking about being a leader, you know, taking your life by your hands and stuff like that. But they wouldn't exactly say what they were talking about. And I'm like, yeah, sounds all great, but what are you trying to sell? Ultimately, I found out that they had a series of books they were selling to people. Some self-help books where you can read them, follow them, and then you can also mentor some people too. And, you know, sell some of the books. You know, it's basically an MLM scheme, but it had to deal with self-help people and about how they can better their lives, and sell some books to some other people that'll better their lives too. I could not tell you the name of the company or the name of the group, but it was funny. After the meeting and everything, she wanted me to meet her mentor, and it was this guy in a suit, whatever. And she's like, oh yeah, here's my friend Chris. And I'm like, hey, hi, how's it going? And the guy says, oh, so are you interested in joining our mentorship program too? And I'm like, no, I'm not really into these MLM things. And then like the expression on his face went from like, you know, pleasant to like scowl. And then he just turned to her and said like, oh, well, you know, you don't need this kind of negativity either. You know, I'm like, wow, this guy. Anyway, so that's my MLM story. Well, at least he found something marginally better to occupy his free time. Hey guy, just thought of something kind of a shot in the dark. I recently got connected with an entrepreneur that started teaching me to create passive income outside of my day job. He mentioned that he is looking for another solid candidate to start working within the next month. I couldn't promise anything, but are you open to taking on anything else right now outside of everything you have on your plate? Didn't you get busted for child porn a few years back? I'm missing your point, or did you have one? My point is that joining a pyramid scheme isn't the first bad decision you've made. Oh, hard pass. This one's kind of a touchy subject. I've noticed that there are a lot of anti-MLM stories that sound made up. It's starting to turn into a choosing beggars or entitled parents subreddit, where you have a lot of people making up stories like this, because it's not difficult to fake, a line of messages like this between one person or another just to create a narrative you want. I would hope that people wouldn't make up stories that have to do with, this subject, but on the other hand, if it is true, then both scenarios aren't good, right? Possible category 4 coming, and she's trying to peddle Monat. Hey, good looking prep and finish kit, $53. Hurricane prep, set, and go. You can get all 4 for $53. Air dry cream, split and mender, blowout cream, and magnifying mousse. Don't get caught without electricity looking like you got struck by lightning. So yeah, this Hun is taking something serious like Hurricane Dorian and turning it into a sales pitch. Like, the thing that bugs me the most about this is that she's making light of the storm, like, because people are really going to be worried about their hair care and stuff like that. But this hurricane is actually pretty serious business. It missed a lot of the Florida Keys Islands. Like, it missed like the Bahamas and missed Cuba. When hurricanes go over land, that's when they lose their strength because they dump all the water out and they can't regain strength by evaporation, from the sea. So this one pretty much missed all the land and is heading straight for the southeast coast of the United States. So when she says, hey, all you have to be worried about is your hair being struck by lightning or making it look like it's struck by lightning, it's making light of how severe this storm could be. And she's sending kind of a signal to people where it's like, hey, this is all you need to worry about with this storm. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't be surprised with all the stories that we've seen on this channel with Huns, but it's still disgusting. My income as an Amway independent business owner. So this is me shamefully putting my Amway income checks from when I was an independent business owner back in 2018. Please keep in mind this is before any expenses. We are talking $90 per ticket for conferences. Went to 3 of them, 2 of them with my wife, 1 by myself. Paid for lodging and food at the conference, $700 for all 3 conferences. Bought product for myself and giving samples to people, $300 per month. Recouped about $1,000 back from returning stuff when quitting. AMO app, $80 a month. Books, about $250 total. Approximately $3,500 in expenses on an income of a meager $937.17. So 7 months in business, lost just over $2,500. The sad part is, I was building a business from a distance. My upline was 10 hours away from me. So I didn't get roped into the meetings they would have several times a week, in which they charged $5 a person to get in the door. This would be another $300 if I did live locally. This just goes to show the nickel and diming they do to bilk the independent business owners out of their own money. They fill you up full of hope, but come up way short in the income column. They tell you how much you can potentially make a month, but they don't tell you about the expenses that are involved in the business. The constant badgering of following the process, edifying your upline to others, and no negativity was mind-numbing. The brainwashing of conferences was cultist. The expenses involved in the support materials that the uplines are making off the IBOs is nauseating, to say the least. Especially when the tool money is the majority of the money that the diamonds are making. Here's the income breakdown by the checks that I received from Amway. I've never really taken into consideration the other expenses that people go through when they join an MLM. Like the conferences. Like, I never even had conferences in my mind when I started making these MLM videos. But yeah, that's a huge thing, and they go there to spend more money. Also, that $80 a month to use their app, to use a phone app, $80 a month. That's ridiculous. $5 per meeting? Yeah, they nickel and dime you, and it's not like that they're going to go and learn something new. Well, I guess they can learn something new about new products that they're going to sell or new strategies, but like, what would be the point? If you know what you're selling, then what would be the point of going to one of those conferences? Unless it acts like a cult mentality, like that they were talking about. Like, you get enough people together with positive energy and stuff and shouting and like saying that they love the company, it's very powerful when you get a lot of people like that together. So I can see why people would want to go and have that positive support group of other people that are losing their money. Because if you're just losing your money by yourself, it's one thing. If you're losing your money with everyone else, then it's wonderful. Thank you all for joining me on another Reddit story thing, anti-MLM. So I've been trying to do videos like every 3 days or so, 2 or 3 days, just to kind of keep myself in kind of an upload rhythm. But man, day 2 of 3, I was watching my niece. My brother and my sister-in-law went to a Collective Soul concert, and I stayed and watched my niece at my brother's house. So I was like, okay, I'll make a video the next night. But I was up pretty late. I was up until like midnight that night, and I go to work at basically 6. So I didn't get much sleep. It took me a while to get to sleep. I went to sleep around 1, woke up at like 5 o'clock. So I was pretty tired the next day. I made a post saying, hey, I'm gonna make a video tomorrow because I'm too tired today. And then day 4 rolled around yesterday, and I'm like, yeah, I'm still pretty tired. I don't know. I would like to keep some sort of a rhythm going, but man, there are just those days when you get home and you're like, ugh. I don't even want to look at the computer. So thanks for bearing with me. I'm not like losing interest in the channel or anything like that. It's just my work schedule during the week. It gets me tired, I guess. Anyway, enough about that. You didn't come to hear me talk. You did, but not about myself. Anyway, thanks for joining me. If you liked what you saw, give me a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and subscribe if you haven't. And I will see you guys in the next video. So until then, later, kids.